Do you ever make a painting and you look at it and you're like, this painting is stressed out. This painting needs a vacation. This painting is very tightly wound up and just needs to chill. Because that's how all my old paintings used to feel. So let's get into the tips, easy ways that you can learn how to paint looser in your artwork. Okay, one tip for painting looser that I've been loving lately is to make my photo reference super small on my laptop or wherever you're painting from. Just make it very small so that you really can only see like the main shapes and values. You're not seeing all the details. When you make your photo small, you really just are forced to only see the blocked large objects. And then after you've mapped out your shapes and values and stuff, you can make your photo bigger and do the details, but it's really helpful to get in those foundation layers. Another tip for painting looser is to stand up while you paint if you don't already. I used to sit down primarily when I painted, but you're so close to the canvas. I mean, you can sit back, obviously, but I just find that standing up really gets your whole body moving. You can put your arm straight out and really put your whole body into the movement and be loose with it and truly just let go of that control. And it's almost like a dance. I just find that I really get in the flow state when I stand up and I'm able to step back and squint my eyes really easily or, move closer as needed. But it's just getting in that headspace of loosening up and just, letting your arm flow. My next tip for painting looser is to go into your painting with a plan. So before I sort of had a plan for my paintings, I would not really know where to start. So I might start in a corner or on the person's eye or some small detail and, really get wrapped into that detail and just spend hours perfecting it. And when you go into your painting with a plan, it gives you a step-by-step guide so that you're not getting too hung up on one area. So the way I like to paint typically is, I'll do a light underpainting with burnt sienna and I'll map out the shapes and values. And then I would go in with my dark values. So if I see like dark blues and blacks and dark greens, I'll paint those in. And I'm always moving around the canvas, not getting stuck in one area. And then I would move on to my mid-tones and then my highlights and high key tones. And then finally, refining and adding details and texture and things like that, extra shading. So knowing those steps really ensures that I'm not spending too much time in one area and I'm able to just sort of move along the painting really quickly. Another tip for painting looser that's really, really helped me has been learning about different brushstrokes. And honestly, I've learned a lot of these from just watching professional artists paint. And of course, you can go and learn about impressionism specific brushstrokes or expressionism techniques, things like that. But having a knowledge of scumbling or scrubbing, stippling, things like this can really help you sort of be armed with the tools to paint looser. Recently, I've been painting a lot of flowers and I kind of just learned by trial and error that if I press and lift, like do a press and then sweep, I can do a really good flower petal. And I learned, I can like kind of slide my brush left and right to do like larger areas, like just things like that where you sort of have, tools in your tool belt and they, will support you on that painting loose journey. Another tip for painting looser is of course using larger brushes. You already know this, I'm sure, but using a large brush is such a great way to paint looser. And it also makes your paintings go faster as well because you're covering more ground. So if you're getting caught up in using smaller brushes and focusing too long on certain details, grab a large brush and focus on blocking in the large shapes and, really try to use as little brush strokes as possible. When you're painting with a large brush, you physically cannot do like tiny details that well. So you are forced to, focus on the larger shapes, and that in turn makes your painting looser and more expressive and less tight feeling. So you're automatically, just by using a large brush, going to get that feeling of movement and breath in your painting. Another tip for painting looser is, of course, to hold the tip of your paintbrush. Now, most people know this, but it really is a game changer and just always a good reminder. I didn't start doing this until about 2 years ago, and it's just completely transformed my paintings. And I just have a lot more fun while painting. I really like the result. And I feel like my flowers and my shapes just have movement and feel alive. They don't feel so stiff and like dead and dull and precise and controlled. They feel like they have a mind of their own and that they're speaking for themselves almost. I know that sounds weird, but it's like paintings do have a mind of their own and they want to speak and say something. So let them, don't hold so much control. Just hold the tip of your brush, keep it loosey-goosey, and, let what flows flow. Another tip for painting looser, this is a huge one for me, is to set timers and paint faster. So when you have a deadline, like say 30 minutes to finish a painting or 1 hour, you cannot get all the details in there. So you are forced to paint loose and fast, and you're just going to inject more sloppiness in a good way into your painting. I love painting fast now. I feel like it just allows me to not have control, and I know it's not going to be perfect, and it's okay. But I always end up loving the result so much more than when I just obsess and plan and like deliberate over a painting for days. It feels too calculated. So set a 30-minute timer and challenge yourself to finish a painting in 30 minutes. And keep doing that over and over and over, and you will get better each time. And you'll get better at using that time allotted to refine your paintings as well. Painting faster has been life-changing for me. It also helps me because I get so bored with my paintings if I keep painting on them for days and days and days. But if I can just finish it in 30 minutes or an hour, it's so amazing, and I can just move on to the next painting, and just it really helps like my brain. But especially with painting looser, it forces you to focus on the big details and the important details as well. You're not going to get caught up in perfecting every little tree or every little grass blade. You just can't. So you do what you can and you move on. And then each time you do that, you'll kind of get better at knowing what to focus on and how to, make the painting good within that 30 minutes. Another tip for painting looser is to find one focal point in your painting to focus on. So if you're painting a field of flowers, maybe there's one on the bottom right that's the sun is hitting it perfectly, and you want to make that your focal point. By doing that, you will kind of understand that the rest of it isn't as important, and focus on getting that flower right, and then the other flowers can be unfinished looking, and that's okay, because the eye is going to be going to that main flower. It doesn't mean that you don't try to make the rest good, but it just gives you a guide so that you're not obsessing over every single element. You can say, okay, let's make this one element great, and the rest can be good. So in conclusion, paint fast, stand far away, put your body into it and be loose with your body, paint smaller, use a larger brush, simplify, and make your photo really small. Those are like my main tips that have helped me transform my life and my painting, and I'm just so much happier with my art in general because of that. So I hope this was helpful if you're also looking to paint looser, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your tips? Did you like this video? Make sure to please like and subscribe if you like this video, and check out my links below. I have paintings for sale on my website that I just relaunched. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok and all of the things. And again, thanks so much for being here, and happy painting. Bye.